climbing out the
No
top
contact
window.
day.
It's no contact day. What does that mean? It's when Dad's popping aspirin like popcorn, it's no contact day. And then, of course, he fucking opens the door and it's just like, what are you waiting for, a limo? And Rick goes up, kisses him. We're off to the club, honey. And she's just looking at him like, why the fuck did I have you? And then walks in the house and then they leave. And I don't know. They just drive to school.
Meeting the rest of the victims for this
so
film.
we missed the
Debbie and
designated
Sheila.
Mm-hmm. So Debbie shows up, asks if anyone did their trig homework because she was too busy watching Dynasty.
80s.
Dude, I watched the remake of Dynasty and enjoy the shit out of it, but I like trash TV, so I'm alright. And then they have a chit-chat for a minute, and then it's like, oh, I think I see salvation. Enter the nerdy girl. Now, when you meet Sheila, she's very nerdy, very normal. I can understand why Rennie Harlan asked her to be more black. I'm not saying I agree with it. Let me finish before you judge me. She is written in the script as a very sassy black woman.
Okay, but...
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that I can understand his reasoning behind it. However, should you ever go up to somebody and say that? No. But I can understand why, because he's not getting what he's supposed to have. But my question is, why didn't you say that when they were filming?
Yeah.
If you wanted
Just
her to sass it up a bit,
or cast
somebody who is a little more sassy. You don't cast her.
But then again, we come back to the original, last week where Will was supposed to be fucking young Fabio.
Yeah,
so,
Will was supposed to be young Fabio, and Taryn was actually supposed to be black. So they just go with what they want.
Just get your script right before you cast these people.
And they don't do that. So anyway, so she goes up to Sheila and it's just like, hey, you know, speaking of numbers, like because she's got asthma, which will play into it. Again, this movie is so good at foreshadowing. It's almost like, hey, this is how Freddy's going to kill me. Like Debbie's clearly works out a lot, and fucking Sheila's got asthma. Alice daydreams because she daydreams about the hunky guy who literally calls him a major league hunk, which I'm like, oh my god, the 80s was horrible. And then
Dan looks a lot like Eli Manning.
A lot, yeah.
Kind of threw me.
Yeah, it is a little strange.
It's like, is that two-time Super Bowl champion Eli Manning? No, he wouldn't be in this movie.
And then, you know, then some guy fucking says some weird blowjob joke to her because she's sucking on the inhaler, and he's like, you're sucking on the wrong nozzle. Who would do that?
80s douche movie guy.
Like, honestly. And then, you know, Debbie stands up for her, and then one of my favorite moments is Sheila goes in for a high five that Debbie's not looking for.
Oops!
It just that awkward. I love that awkward like high five thing.
I think.
And she's also hides it. If you watch it, she literally goes for the high five. Debbie's not looking, and then she sort of goes like touches her arm like that was what she meant to do. And I'm like, oh, I love it so much.
When I miss the high five, I just go back and just ooh the hair. Okay, just yeah. So we're not doing high five. Cool.
And then, in the last bit of foreshadowing, Debbie's eating what I found out is dried fruit. Bugged me for fucking years. Couldn't figure out what the fuck she was eating because it looked like potato chips in the bag that she had, but when she crushed it, it crushes with a little more substance. It's dried apricots that she's eating, and a cockroach is on it. She loses her shit, throws it on the ground, stamps the thing out like it's the end of the fucking world, and, you know, everyone has to stop her, but she's like, oh my god, it's so disgusting. Well, I wonder how you're going to die.
Foreshadowing. To the letter.
Yes.
We get the whitest of white boy karate scenes.
We have to go to the scene that will piss me off. So we're in the school.
Yeah.
Joey and Kincaid walk up.
Right.
Walk up to Kristen, and it's just like, would you believe I didn't even really watch the movie that much, but I remember this much. I didn't have much time to watch the movie, but I remember this like it was fucking the back of my hand now.
Who are not in her group of friends.
No. But I think...
Because Kristen's in this group of friends, I think.
Yes. Kristen is this
because she's friends with Alice.
If you look at the video that they show later, they're all friends. Which is why I don't understand why Sheila doesn't seem to give a shit that her friend is fucking all upset.
Right.
Doesn't seem to care, walks away. My guess, and the way I worked this out, is that Joey and Kincaid are the friends she made at the hospital. These are the friends she had in the high school.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
Before she went to the
exactly,
hospital.
which is why I say this was only a year from the last one. They were all friends to begin with.
Right.
And
then she
goes
away
to the
for
hospital.
a little
She
bit.
goes away because she goes on a vacation.
Right.
You know, could be in the summer, for instance. You know, and like just sort of. And then she comes back, and this is her friend group. And now she's got the creepy friends that she made over the summer. So Joey and Kincaid show up, and Joey can talk.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Why can Joey talk? He can talk in a dream. That makes sense because that was his dream power. Why can he talk?
Does he just get over it?
I guess. But
like Freddy's dead, I got over it.
We never explained why he couldn't talk in the first one, so I guess we just have to accept it. But I'm sitting here going, but why?
He's scared.
Why? No.
Also, it's not going to matter because he's not.
He's not long for this.
He's not long for this world, anyways.
No. So then we get the line that I always complete because I am a giant dork. Rick just sort of goes, like, those guys are spooky, and she says, well, you must, I think I'm a total freak. He's like, I go back and forth, and he goes, lighten up, no one died, and then they walk away, and then you see, like, Freddy slashes. Every time he says no one died, I always go, yet. Because I'm a big, giant dork. Anyway.
So we get to him doing karate.
Mm-hmm.
Like a full-on scene
White
of
boy
him
karate.
doing fucking...
Yeah. We
shit.
get a 80s montage to a song that apparently pissed off every radio station because they were so sick of it. It was one of those songs that they played consistently. And he's doing the white boy karate, and it's the whitest of white karates.
Mm-hmm.
It is, like, you've got, like, literally, like, you've got, like, a Japanese flag, and he's got the stupid headband with, like, Japanese characters on it. But you're like, you are so lily white, this doesn't make any sense. But... So then he's done karateing up the place, and he walks out, and then Dad walks in with a fucking... drives up with a bottle of fucking vodka in his hand, in a paper bag, because that's how you hide it from the cops, don't you know?
Mm-hmm.
And just, like, looking, like, waiting for something. Shithead. They walk in. He sits down, it's like, oh, I'm sorry I'm late, damn contracts. So apparently he works with contracts. And... Alice...
Continuing the trend of shitty parents.
Pretty much. So Alice hands him... a salad.
Yeah, just a bowl of vegetables.
Yeah, just a bowl of vegetables and shit. Because, like, they waited a long time, but it's, like, 11. So, and he's just... Bitch, where's my dinner? Like, you call this vegetation after a meal after a 10-hour workday? And try to think a little more. And then she daydreams again and walks up and just smashes the bowl and just like, I can think of how sick I am of watching you drink your life away and taking it out on me. And then he fucking yells at her again, like, hey, wake up. And she's just like, oh, goddammit. And Rick, who I got to assume because of his white boy karate skills, the drunk guy doesn't say anything to, and he's just like, Dad, don't start. Start what? Telling a little daydream to wake up? It's long overdue. And then we cut, the timeline of this sequence of events, I don't understand. Because this is supposed to be 11 o'clock, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
This is where Joey and Kincaid are done, and Kristen has her weird scene that I mentioned earlier where she just lights a cigarette. And Joey's mom comes in like an hour later to pick up the laundry, and it's light outside. What the fuck's going on?
I do not
But anyway, I digress. It always
So Kincaid is sleeping because we get the whole
well, he has
blink,
this whole
blink,
thing.
blink.
He does his blink, and then he sees a shadow that looks like Freddy. And then it's the dog. And that's when he goes, Jason, come here, boy. And I'm sure everybody in the theater laughed their ass off.
Like, oh, I get it because of the other.
Because this was about
franchise.
the time everyone's talking about Freddy versus Jason. This is
Right.
where the talk really seriously started.
So he's fine, and then he wakes up. He thinks he's wakes up.
This ain't my dreamland.
Yeah, this ain't my dreamland. I'm like, so what is your dreamland?
I would assume, being that he's a 16 to 17-year-old boy, naked girls. I mean,
That's Joey's.
that's Joe. Well, but that's Joey's downfall.
Yeah.
So that's not his dreamland. But he's in a junkyard. I'm just going to assume not a junkyard.
Yeah, because he wakes up in a trunk of a car.
And I believe it's the caddy, which
Yeah.
is interesting, although it's higher up this time. And it's the same junkyard from the last one, simply because they liked it. They're like, that was a really cool looking set. Let's do that again.
So he's getting chased by Freddy, basically.
Not yet. We have to get how Freddy is resurrected.
Oh, right.
This is fucking genius.
So Jason's there, the dog.
So the dog shows up, and he's like, what the fuck's he doing? And the dog's digging. And he goes, Jason, and Jason fucking... Again, the most adorable attack ever. And then the dog lifts his leg, pisses fire,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what resurrects Freddy. And I will say this.
Because I guess it's a hound from hell or
I
whatever.
guess,
right?
that's the idea. And he's born from fire. The skeleton coming together and the flesh melting back onto his bones looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, the effect
It looks
is
so
great.
fucking
The
good.
effect is great.
It holds up to this day.
Because he comes... Now, my whole thing is he's being resurrected. That's
Yes.
fine. But why does he get resurrected to his burnt self? and not back to just Freddy Krueger.
He's used to it.
Yeah.
He's either used to it or that's his default and he can't go back.
Okay,
I think
so he can't go back to his...
I mean, he could. He does do it in Freddy's Dead. He does do it, like, spoiler alert, but no one can take that movie seriously because it breaks all the rules, so I don't know.
Right. So Freddy
starts attacking.
And he basically is like, I wasn't dead, or...
Yeah, you can't... Well, it was the first thing I put here is, you shouldn't have buried me, I'm not dead. Which is true, he wasn't dead. So after the last flick, everything they did, because they buried the bones, and he consecrated it, but it didn't actually kill him. Like, he was basically... Because he was in charge of everything. He was in charge of why Kristen went into the house in her first nightmare. He was in charge of the dog coming in and attacking Kristen and making the blood happen. And he was in charge of his own resurrection. He's in charge of everything. He's making all this shit happen. He was never dead. He was just weak. So he had this whole thing to dream himself back up.
Fair enough. So he chases Kincaid, who's screaming for Kristen at this point, and it doesn't work that way.
And it's not working. Yeah, it's like, you can't make Kristen do this. It's the other way around.
The cool effect shot of him being now surrounded by cars in a small circle, it pans out to the globe, basically.
And the way they did that was basically, they cut, like, further and further back, and then eventually it's just a painting. Yeah. Which is, like, there's shots of the dude making the painting, and the painting's fucking beautiful.
So
I wish I could get my hands on that.
Gives him a stabby stab.
Yeah. Just like, I'll see you in hell. Tell him Freddy sent ya.
Kills him. Something we don't normally see is him in the real world getting up, holding his chest. He just gets up, holds it, and then basically dies of, like, a heart attack?
I don't know, because I would assume it's from the cuts, but... I mean, it's so weird because Freddy was never worried about making it look like a suicide all the time.
Yeah.
And now he is. And I don't understand... But at the same time, he's not, because Joey you can't explain.
Yeah.
Like, there is no explanation for Joey. So, I don't know. Maybe he just said, fuck it, and maybe he's bleeding out. We just don't see the blood.
So we cut to Joey watching MTV because it's the 80s.
Yeah, and see, MTV, kids, was not originally just the reality show network. M stands for music, and they used to show music videos. It was a continuous loop of music videos. And I miss music television like you fucking read about.
So also an 80s thing, he's sleeping on a waterbed.
He is. My parents had one growing up.
So he feels something.
Yeah.
He feels something. He pulls off the covers, and it's a full-on aquarium in his.
Yeah. Well, it's a naked chick. Yeah. Because it was the girl that was on his poster above his TV that he just sort of sneakily looks at, and I'm like, is he about to jerk off? Because I grew up with half-naked women on my wall too. I never sneakily looked at them through my fucking magazine. That was weird. I'm like, he's about to jerk off. That's what's going to happen here.
So he sees her, and she's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, and he's just like, oh.
How do I get in the bed?
How do I get into the water? And then she disappears and goes, wait, come back. And then what they read about in the original script and whatnot, he actually does see Freddy. That's why he is able to dodge.
Right.
He does see him coming. Which, in the movie, you can't see that.
Yeah.
So Freddy jumps out and says the immortal line of, how's this for a wet dream? Which was reused in the fucking remake and go fuck yourself.
So does he drown him or does he stab him?
He does both. He stabs him and drowns him.
Okay.
Although he looks like he drowned in real life because there's no blood. But there's blood when he stabs him.
Right.
So he made it look like a drowning. Why? I don't know. Because you can't explain how somebody can get into a waterbed.
Yeah, because his mom comes in.
Yeah.
Teenager leaving his clothes all over the floor.
Yeah, she's all pissed off. He's not turning off the fucking TV. And she goes... I mean, the only other thing I can think of is that maybe this is... No, it can't be. I was going to say maybe this is the next day, but I'm fairly certain that the Kristen, like... Oh, no. Maybe it is the next day. Because I think this is where we cut to Kristen not knowing how to light a cigarette.
Well, she finds Joey in the bed just floating.
Just screaming, and she screams and whatnot. She does the typical scream in movies where she puts her arms down first before she screams.
Yeah.
Yeah, which always makes me laugh.
So yeah, Kincaid and Joey, the heroes from the last one.
Dead.
Super dead within the first 20 minutes of this film.
Kristen's next. We only got about 10 minutes left on Kristen. So we cut to Kristen, who's outside and does not know how to light a cigarette. If you watch the scene, I never noticed it because of the shitty quality of the movie CD that I was watching. But yeah, if you watch this, she has a cigarette in her mouth. She lights the match. Doesn't light the cigarette because the match goes out before she can light it, and then starts pretending to light the cigarette.
Well,
how do you not...
Movie magic.
How do you not go on a second take of this when it's just somebody lighting a cigarette.